Right. So, the tale of Old Man Henderson ended when he died. Or so I thought. A friend of mine gave me a call and asked me if I wanted to play in a game he was going to run. The premise was this. There were various people who were simply amazing during life. Like how there's a normal engineer and then there's Tony Stark. There's a normal driver and then there's the Stig. There's a normal detective and then there's Sherlock Holmes. These people were basically heroes like the ones of old, expressed in a new way. And when these legends die, they don't completely fade away. Sometimes, when one dies with a job unfinished, they end up haunting a place. Some, when they die, they become martyrs for a cause, never fully removed from memory. And then there's the oddest cases. When two heroes clash and destroy each other, their duel continues in another place. A place somewhere between life and death, heaven and hell. Here, their quarrel is settled properly, and the winner gets a second shot at life. I'm not going to tell the full campaign story here, since this isn't the time or place, nor have I had the chance to type it up properly. In the end, Henderson beat a vastly weakened Hostor and won his resurrection. Then he found out what happens to a god when it dies. It doesn't get an afterlife. It just stops existing, and then a new one takes its old place in the cosmos. So he did something that threw everyone for a loop. Hijacked Hostor's essence to contact another god. Nyarlathotep answered the call, since he just loves fucking with the established order of things. He cut a deal with Henderson. He'd bring them both back to life as normal humans, but he got to keep Hostor's power unless Hostor decided to claim it back. Henderson was then reborn into the mortal world. In his new life, he came across some knowledge that his childhood friend Heather was Hostor reborn, while simultaneously regaining all the memories of his past life. He then got Heather drunk, got her to reclaim her power, and sealed it in an amulet. Nyarlathotep does not appreciate the irony, and tries to send cultists to kill him, which is kinda like trying to put out a wildfire by dumping oil on it. Henderson was last seen at around age 17, grabbing Heather and using some weird ritual to throw them into a parallel universe that Nyarlathotep couldn't touch. You could also call young Old Man Henderson Eli Burning, since that's technically his name now that he's been reborn. Anonymous request. Due to the epic levels of madness in this story, is it inappropriate for me to ask that Henderson's full backstory be put up somewhere? 'Cause I really want to read it, and have the backstory of Doom preserved for all time. Fuck no. I burned that thing. It was evil. Seriously, the world is a better place without it. That may be true, but since when does anything about Henderson take the good of the world into account? The backstory is part of the legend. Old Man Henderson's story can't be told in full without its release. Besides, it's 320 pages. The only people who will read it are those who need to use Henderson as inspiration. Translation, have jackass GMs. I burned that motherfucker. I'm pretty sure I've said that before. There only ever existed one copy. It doesn't exist anymore, Anon. Take this up on the talk page if you really feel the need to keep doing this. You should have asked there to begin with. And so concludes Old Man Henderson. Stay tuned for when I, at some point, get around to reading the Ballad of Donovan Graham, the thief who became a saint.